there was one studio, so there wasn't too much of that. Except at all the major competitions, one of us would get up and say 1, 2, 3, and the whole crowd, "Go Milwaukee!" Now I think you ought to reinstate that. Maybe go Wisconsin. But intimidate those judges and keep them on your side. I think that's a big thing. It's wonderful to speak with so many friends. We have friends that go back a quarter of a century, and we have some that go back not quite so long, and lots of friends that we haven't met yet. I brought along a bunch of posters because in about the 5th year of our dancing, it started to really take a complete hold in our lives, and our Christmas cards became the posters that you see over there. And after about 5 years of dancing, why, we started it in 1993 and we go through to the last Christmas. And we did it for 3 reasons. Some of our older friends will be able to take a trip down memory lane. Some of those of you who have not been with us quite so long can see what your bosses looked like 20 years ago.
I didn't look at my pictures.
So anyway, it's a fun browse, and the main reason I put it up is to say dancing can become such a wonderful part, a major part of your life. And with Betty and me doing this for 26 years now, take my word for it, it's a very good thing. And it's a very good work that you people are accomplishing with us. So you really have something to give, and you're giving it, and that's the kind of result. Step back to the start of things. It was the winter solstice, 1988, in the conjunction of 3 things. It was our 33rd wedding anniversary. I was into a big project and I forgot that it was our 33rd wedding anniversary. Betty had received a telemarketing call. So, very reluctantly, this guy said, "Yes, dear." And we went into the dance studio. The entry at that time is what's the North Shore Bistro. We went back into what is now the kitchen of the North Shore Bistro. And I met Mr. Gates. And he put us through our paces with a sample lesson, and we did a little push-pull and a couple of basic foxtrots and a little waltz, and even a bit of tango. Now, I was an awkward guy. I could never do anything that looked at all graceful. Oh, I could run. I was pretty good at track. But even that, I think I looked kind of humorless going across the cross-country courses. But doggone it, you know, in that single hour, the light at the end of the tunnel was not a train. But then, you went away for Christmas vacation, so you went out to Montreal, and Mr. Knight had a few lessons here, and Dee Heil, and I guess the 2 of you flipped, and Mr. Knight lost, so he had to put up with us for the rest of the years. But you, Mr. Knight, you worked with Betty for close to 8 years, and you put out one heck of a bunch of shows. And Dee Heil was, I had her for several years, but she decided Wausau was a better place to go. And then a young lady by the name of Strelo came into the picture. And she hadn't put up with me for more than 10 years. There have been immediate benefits to us in the short term. They're the sort of thing you normally talk about as being obvious. The general physical conditioning. Now, I came in from a lot of exposure to the military. So I always walked pretty rigid like that, and Latin motion was not in the picture. But with extreme patience, and I tried the patience of everyone that tried to get me to wiggle the hips. It worked, so I could now wiggle the hips. Betty, in the process of about a year of the dancing, or a little over, lost 75 pounds and enjoyed a long level of health there and activity that we have videos to prove that she was quite an accomplished dancer. Well, she was a natural dancer and a natural showgirl. So you put her up, and even with the things that are happening recently, you put her in front of an audience, and boy, she'll work that audience to death. It's marvelous. I didn't lose a pound. I did, however, lose 4 inches around here. And before we started, I got some tailored shirts. I thought it was just great. And after about a year and a half, and this is where Betty made the distinction. She lets me lift ladies, but she won't let me pick up girls. So anyway, with the lifting of the ladies, all of a sudden the shirt sleeves went up, and the muscles were growing on here. I didn't lose a pound, but I sure got a lot more muscle. And it put me in a physical shape that paid off in the years following in many, many ways. I'll talk about that a little bit later. My company insisted that I take a stress electrocardiogram every year. And I'd get on the treadmill and we'd go up to slope 1, slope 2, slope 3, and they'd speed up to speed 1, speed 2, speed 3. And they'd triple my heart rate. I'd say, that's good, that's nice and healthy. After a year, we went to the first speed, second speed, third speed, fourth speed, and fifth speed with the tilt. The doctor said, we're never going to triple your heart rate. This is trained athlete status. And that's another thing that you have given us. Back in those days, I was having to do a fair amount of public speaking. Excuse my voice, I got frog in the throat today. But it's amazing with the training that you have in dance. You're anchored, and the result of your singing or your speaking comes across so much more forceful but effortless. This is another byproduct of being a dancer. Coordination. Our winters here get to be a little slippery. And somehow you recover from those little slips a lot more, or you have fewer slips, simply because you place your foot where the center of gravity is going to be. That really paid off after I retired. I was head of the Milwaukee County Red Cross Disaster Action Team. These are the first responders, silly little people in red jackets and white helmets that go to every residential fire. And within a few hours, we can make sure that the people who are there have food, clothing, shelter, and med support. And most of all, you show them somebody cares. Think of the friendship that exists among us students and staff of Fred Astaire. That kind of friendship gets to be more and more real to us all the time, and was demonstrated early on. In the first year, Betty and I had coaching from Bruno Collins and Luann Pulliam. At that time, they were the longtime world cabaret dance champions. About a year later, we were in Bal Harbor. Betty and I were getting ready to go on an amateur competition. We hear voices behind us. Go, Betty, go, Tom. They remembered us. They took the care to remember us. This is quality. This tells you that the program has a wonderful, genuine quality to it. And we've enjoyed that association with both Bruno and Luann over these many 20 years or so or more.